Is it where? Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
stop talking about my comments now.
You what?
I said I'll stop talking about my comments I'm getting now that we're recording.
We'll just cut that part out. Okay, cool. So tonight I really, really want to focus on like mainly like conversations, because obviously like it's one thing to get the lead and like start being in conversation with them, but like depending on how we actually handle that conversation can be the difference between like getting them through to the next step or not, getting them to commit or not. I'm just going to mute you there, Michi. Hi, by the way. Congratulations on your 2 buyers. Woo woo! Awesome. 2 in one day, slamming it. And so, yeah, so basically like what happens, like really the best way that I can explain it is that people are comfortable and people are scared, right? And so yes, they reach out. That's the first level in their moment of inspiration, right? By the time usually we get back to them, they're going to go into their shell again, right? So they're going to feed us a bunch of excuses or BS, as I like to call it, unconsciously, subconsciously. They're not even going to know what they're doing. It's our job to really take off those layers, right? So we have to be careful that we don't get stuck in the being too nice place because we're not doing them any favors, right? So having a little bit of a tough edge, even though you can still pepper them with love, right? Really pushes them. It's like a mirror, right? We need to be a reflection for them and show them and share with them what they're actually doing. Okay? It's tough love, basically. And so sometimes that's uncomfortable, right? Until you find your groove in how to say it. And I think it was Lisa, it was you and I that were talking about the build, break, build, right? Okay. So in the conversation, I'll give you like just like the basis before we get too deep into it. It's something that we call build, break, build. Okay. So the build, break, build is in the beginning, you're basically going to give them something nice. You're going to hit them with something that they're really good at, something that was like something that you can tell about them. So I'll give you an example. I can tell that you really love your family. They really mean a lot to you and that you're working really hard for them. Okay. You pump them up with love. Then in the middle, you break it to them. Okay. However, I'm going to point out to you that what you've been doing for the last 10 years hasn't been working for you. And that's why you reached out and messaged me in the first place. I know that there are goals that you want to hit, and I know that you're fearful or scared. But if you don't allow yourself to do something different, take a risk, believe in yourself, you're going to hold yourself in that exact same pattern. Then you go back to love on the bottom. It's a sandwich. Okay. On the bottom, then you say something along the lines of like, this is why I'm here. You know, I was in the same position as you, and I know that what I have here can make a difference in your life. Whether you choose to take it on or not is totally up to you. All I can do is give you the invite, but I'm sharing here with you whatever, blah, 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 right? You bring in the solution, you bring in the answer, and you build them back up. You give them hope, right? So always keep this framework in mind when you're in conversations, because a lot of the times, if we look back through our messages, we'll see that we actually don't want to create any ripples with people, right? So we'll generally go, okay, no worries. I know that life is busy. Definitely don't wait on this, but hit me back next week or we'll get back in touch next week, right? Sound familiar? Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, and I did that for months in the beginning of my business, months until I did that boot camp with Jeff. And that's where I really noticed that we are in a very special position to really, if we really want to help people make change, we can't tippy-toe around the obvious, right? We have to show them. We have to show them their pattern. And yes, it might be uncomfortable in the beginning, but do you know how many people are going to come back to you and they're going to say, you're right? Because it doesn't really leave them anywhere to go. Like that's kind of where you want to you want to get them to a place where they have nowhere else to hide, even to themselves, right? Because what happens if we're too nice? They're going to say, okay, great. Okay, I got rid of her for a week or two, depending on your follow-up. And it allows them to procrastinate in their life even more. And then a week turns into a month, turns into a year, turns into 10 years. God forbid something happened in their family. And then they're like, shit, now I'm really stuck. And they're really wishing that, they could have been in a position where, things were different. So anyway, so that's why a conversation is going to be like one of our really, really big focuses, because it's important. So Rookie, did you want to use some of your conversations as an example to start going through? Because I know we were talking about some of yours. And anybody who does, let me just say this ahead of time, anybody who does do a screen share with their conversations, it's no judgment. We're not here to look at your style of business or to judge you or anything like that. It's a learning experience for everybody, and it helps all of us, right? So, yeah, not to put you on the spot. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I know that we were talking about your conversations earlier.
No, I definitely need to share them because something's just not, it keeps falling and I want to change this. So how do I screen share?
So on the bottom of your screen, bottom middle, there should be like a little green, like a little green box with an arrow. It says share screen.
Okay. So I have, for the most part, like all of my stuff here. So I can kind of copy and paste. So initially, like when they first talked to me, like, hey, can I get more info? I would kind of be like, hi, yada, 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 thanks, da, da, da. I give them this. Then once they like, oh, well, I want to do this because I'll give them a little, however it responds to them. So like a little spiel kind of in like this area here.
Mm-hmm.
After I do that, then I would respond with this area.
Mm-hmm.
When we had first just landed in States, I was using this for the information about the masterclass, for like the link. But now since we have that new one with the We Rise, I've been kind of using this spiel. And this was like way back, Helen, you posted this, and I thought it was awesome about how the 99, I had people ask me, well, why do I have to pay that money? So I had this here to kind of break it all down.
Yeah, no, that's perfect because there are going to be like, so obviously you want to like still make the conversation personalized, which I know you do. But of course there's going to be like some specific questions, like when they ask for info, we're going to usually have the same blurb about what we do, or if they ask about the 99, or if they ask about the cost, like there's a couple of questions that usually we can, exactly like this, we can use the same copy and paste, right? So I'm going to ask you to go right into your inbox, right into your conversations.
Oh, okay.
I know, now you're like, shit.
Yeah.
That's okay. We're going to do a couple from everybody, and just see, like, usually, because like I've seen a couple of your conversations and they're really, really good. Like exceptional connection skills, right? Like connecting with people is not an issue at all. I know that because I've seen a lot of your conversations. It's usually more in the point where it's like trying to drive them forward, which whatever excuse they give, right? Whatever their reason is for not doing it or for holding off for a week or whatever. Oh, Stampeders.
Click on that. Yeah, we were just at the game today. I did a live feed and that was like awesome. He's like on there and he like pumped it right up. So
that's awesome.
So I'm gonna try to bring up that one about the nurse I was telling you about. Okay. So here is, sorry, my computer really sucks.
That's okay, no worries. I'm just going to put this thing with our face down. So if anybody just holler out, because I won't be able to see any of you. Okay.
Maybe. If I have to, I'll just.
There we go. I already spot something. Go into Tabitha,
Okay.
please. Sorry. See, I can already see it the way you say, oh my gosh. Oh yeah. Take your time, love. It's a replay. So you can pause it and go on, right? Where is it? You can go on whenever you have a chance. There you go. See? So that right there, there's no sense of urgency. So I understand what you're doing, because that was my initial, that's who I am too, right? In the heart, you don't want to pressure anybody. You get that life is busy because your life is busy, right? But at the same time, like, it is urgent because their life matters and they need to watch it, right? So let's see. Can you go to the top of this conversation? Nice. Like, you get them to open right up. I'd be happy to share more info. Oh, I love that starting. I love that one. It works so well, right? To get people to open up for the most part. Okay, go down. Okay, so that's perfect, because like, she's open right up to you, right off of the bat. So that opening message is working really well for you. Do you find that that one works really well with other people too, not just her?
I feel like people respond so good to that message.
Yeah.
And I'll usually respond back to them, and then that's where things go down the toilet.
Okay. So that opening message, just for anybody who didn't see it, actually, I'm going to send out a whole document with the ones that I use too. And anybody else with whatever they use, we can all make a whole file for everyone. So that's perfect. So, okay, so go down to, so I can read your message there.
Sorry.
Nice. Good. And then, okay, so see, this is perfect. Like, I'm sure everybody's already reading it. I can't see any of your faces, but yeah, like, you actually connect with her, and like, you know, like, much respect and admiration. That like connection is strong. You're sharing your why and talking about your kids, just relating to them. Yeah, showing the support. Introvert. I love that you say that, because a lot of people feel that they are an introvert. How are you finding that this copy and paste is working for you?
It's hit and miss. Maybe 50%. Like, some people ignore me, and then I respond back, like, "Oh, hey, you know, have you gotten my message or something?" And if they ignore me again, then I just stop talking to them. But sometimes they do respond still, like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to check it out." So it's kind of, it can go either which way.
Okay. Is it a lot? Do you find, so it's about 50% stop after this message? Roughly?
50, yeah.
Okay. Have you tried like playing around with this variation here and like just changing the wording at all? Have you tried different ones, or are you mainly just sticking with the one right now?
Pretty much, for some strange reason, I'm sticking with this. I will.
That's okay.
With it though.
Yeah, no, that's okay. This is the one that I wrote, and it does work for sure. But even I noticed, like, I have a couple of different variations. So that's the thing, right? Is like, we can really tell out of every like 10 people, we roughly look at like our response rate, right? And we'll test out a few different ones. So it might not hurt. And then again, we can collaborate and we can share what other people are using as well too, if we all want to create a big file to help everyone out. I've got a couple more that I use as well. So just like play around with it, right? Like even in just sometimes a few words can change the outcome for it. Okay, so keep going down. Definitely sounds like someone I'd be interested in. Okay. So personally, like this, there's nothing wrong with this, and I haven't gotten all the way through it, but personally, there's a lot in the beginning that she wouldn't really know, like with the 2 master classes and stuff, like she wouldn't really know the difference if you just sent her the one that you think, right, would be suitable to her. Because this next part, you kind of want to keep short. Yeah, so like short and direct for a couple of different reasons, because like the more that we talk, the more time it looks like we have, and the more words we use as kind of like filler when we could condense it and just be short and direct. People like short and direct. They like super clear, super easy, and like just super clear and super easy. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll notice it again with that no urgency on here. So, dang.
Whenever you have time. Yeah. You see it now though, right?
I do.
And in the beginning, it's going to take a while to retrain your fingers. I still type and then I'm like, oh no, and delete, 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 delete. And I still catch myself with certain things, definitely. So like somewhere like that, I would say, I would actually even put like a time that you're going to follow up with them. I would say something along the lines of, so I would tell them personally, I would tell them that it's about an hour and a half. So I would say there's a ton of valuable info in here. It does go for about an hour and a half. So when you sit down to watch it, make sure that you have an hour and a half to give it your undivided attention. And then I'll be back in touch with you tomorrow. And, you know, if you have any questions, then we can go from there or something like that. Like I would give them a day where you're going to follow up with them, because then it makes them feel like, oh shit, I got to watch it before she gets back to me. Right.
So instead of like saying, when could you watch it? I like that better than say, you know, saying, yep, I'll sort of reach back out to you by this time, instead of saying, oh, when do you think you could have a chance to sit down and watch it?
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. That's what I find anyways, is like, obviously not everybody's going to listen to it, but the half of them that do feel a bit of pressure, they're like, oh, okay, Wednesday. All right, cool. I got to have this done by Wednesday or whatever. I find that it works well.
Okay. I like that.
And then, sorry, I'm going to put this back down again. Is this a one-time video watch, or can I replay it over again? As a toddler, I never know what's going to happen.
That was
Yeah, that's okay. No worries. It's all learning though, right? And like it's just tweaking like the psychology and understanding the psychology end of now what she's thinking, right? Because now when she's like, oh, it's there anytime I have time. Well, we all know that everybody feeds themselves those BS stories that they don't have time, right? So in her mind, she's going to go, oh, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time, right? So yeah, you're right to say, however, if you close the browser, that it might not save your spot. Definitely let them know that for sure, to keep the browser open. So yeah, so again, going back to what I was saying before, when I tell them that it's going to be an hour and a half, so make sure you have an hour and a half when you sit down to watch it uninterrupted, right? Like even that next question, which she just asked, then you can say, make sure to keep the browser open, like inside of that same paragraph, because then she's going to know that it's like, you know, find an hour and a half of uninterrupted time. Like you're psychologically, you're putting that in there into the subconscious, right? Make sure when you sit down, you have an hour and a half of uninterrupted time. So yeah, no, this is great. That's a perfect example. Perfect example. Okay. Do you want to find another one where maybe you had, maybe you had like somebody asking a lot of questions, or somebody who has been like, who you followed up with a couple of times who you can't seem to like move forward? Anybody like that may have been a little challenge for you?
Just closed one of them. Is there any way, like when you close your messages, can you bring them back up? I accidentally closed one off.
Yeah, I think that little, if you go up there with the little green check mark, right up there, they should be in there, no? Oh, wait. I don't know, because I don't clear mine out like you do. I just leave them.
I didn't mean to clear it.
Sorry, I think if you see the one by the F right above your conversation there?
Yeah.
Go click up there. I know from your phone, a little drop-down menu goes, and it's either inbox, unread, done, or spam. And every time you hit the check mark, it puts it into unread.
What's under follow-up? If you hit the follow-up right there?
There you go. Go to
inbox?
No, go to done.
Oh, done.
Yeah.
Ah. Thank you.
There you go. Nice.
Okay. So
Does that seriously just say our free meeting will end in 10 minutes?
Oh shit.
What? How long have we been on for?
It's 8:37.
Really? Has it been 35 minutes already?
Someone else can talk. I'm sorry. It's all good.
No, my God, no. That's not what I was meaning at all. See, you're too nice. Freaking Canadians. Although I'm Canadian too.
But you're
okay.
also nice.
The what?
You're like, oh, I'm Canadian too. Like, I'm not a nice person. I think you're the nicest person I've ever met in my life.
No, that's what I mean. I'm Canadian too. So I'm making fun of her, although it's me too. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, Rookie. All I can see is like this part of your eyes.
I just gotta grab people by the balls, essentially. Oh God,
yes.
I'm so sorry.
For what?
Mishi's daughter was there.
Oh, really?
I am so incredibly sorry. My son's upstairs, and I really have a potty mouth. And
you do have a potty mouth.
I do.
You do. You really, really do. Anybody ever drink wine with this girl?
Oh, wine and swearing, my kind of girl.
No, yeah, I'm gonna come visit you. Probably get kicked out of someplace.
Yep.
And we'll go kicking and swearing.
Oh yeah.
Okay. What was I just gonna say? I was gonna say something.
I gotta be.
It just totally left me.
I guess for a friend, I gotta be looking for like a business associate and being more.
Yeah, it's just about learning how to do it with love from a really good place that you know it's going to help them. You know, it's not like pointing out why they're wrong. You know, it's like about showing them why what they're doing is dangerous. You know, why that excuse is actually going to hurt them. You know, and giving them nowhere to go. Right? Calling it out, and they have to face it. Whether they answer you back right away or not, it's not a problem. Doesn't matter. You know they've read it. Not everybody's going to answer back right away, but they will a month later, 2 months later. You watch. It's very interesting. I have a lot of those people coming back right now.
Wow.
And they're mad because it took them a year. Some of them, it took them a year. Not everybody, but the long ones. But that's okay. Doesn't matter because they're ready now, you know, so that's what matters. Okay, let's find another person in your list here so we can pop another one off. We've got 6 minutes left to this Zoom, and then we'll open up another one for the other 15 minutes.
Okay, so this girl, she watched the video. Eve. I think she watched it, and I was trying to do like a, hey, have you, any questions I can answer for you? And she just kind of, ghosted me out. So pretty much the exact same spiel. This was just before I started the whole other messaging, so this just popped up initially, so just ignore that.
So more time with my kids. So I would just take a little bit more time in here before you jump right into the business-wise thing and telling them about the business. You really want to try and use that information as leverage. So I would try and, sorry, I'm just going to try and move this down. I would try and ask them like more about what they do. So can you scroll up what her last message was? It was just spend more time with my kids, be able to travel. Yeah, perfect. So, and then they do grow up fast, and then you can come back with your son. Sorry, scroll back down. Scroll up, scroll down, scroll up, scroll down. Then you can come back sharing more about your son. And then when you ask how old are yours, then you can throw in there, like, try and find out like where they live, you know, like where they live, what they do. If what they do is what they went to school for, like a couple of other questions to try and really get that connection. Because what happens is when we throw them right into like business without having that connection, then they can walk away from us easier. Whereas when they know more about us and we've cracked a joke or two and we've opened them up a little bit, they have a tiny bit more trust. So it means more when they're reading those words. Does that make sense?
No, definitely.
Okay. Okay, scroll down a little bit more.
So this is literally just the exact same part here.
Okay. And you're really good at like adding your humor, adding your sense of humor in here. This is what I'm seeing. It's really, really good. 4-year-old twin boys. Holy shit. Holy shit. My kids are 4 months old, 2 years old, and 4-year-old twin boys. 4-month-old and 2-year-old are girls. Wow. That is a busy mama. Yeah. So in here, I would just actually like after you say much respect, awesome that you got both. I would just really like make a mention in there, like, holy cow, I don't know how you do that. You must be so busy. No doubt you really want the change. No doubt you're looking for something that you can be home. Tie it back into their why, like remind it, use those words again, right? No doubt you really want something like this so that you can be at home with them and not have to juggle everything. Kind of like paint the picture so that in your words, when you're giving it to her, she's like it's like sells it back to her again, you know? Does that make sense how I say that?
No, definitely. I love that.
Yeah. So just tack it on to the end, like finding those opportunities where you can take the answer that they gave you and turn it back into a vision of their goal, or like really taking the extra time to relate specifically, like, you must be super busy. I don't know how you juggle all of that, you know, like using very specific words that makes them feel like they're understood. Because I mean, we all know in life, right? Sometimes we really don't feel like we're being heard. We don't feel validated. We don't feel like anybody really understands our specific position, right? And so like just by taking that extra little bit of time to like, you know, go into detail about what her life must be like holy cow, that must be really crazy for you to go back and forth and juggle everybody and all the kids and the work, and no doubt you want this, and then paint the picture again for them. Okay, scroll down a little bit. Don't worry about telling them with headphones.
Oh, okay.
Because it just kind of like, it kind of already sets it up in a sense that, like, if it's too loud, they'll put headphones on. They'll put it together.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, I don't want to say that it's a negative thing, but it's like when you're saying like, because they're a little loud, it already kind of sounds like you're pointing something out that may be like wrong with it, or maybe I don't know how to explain exactly what I'm thinking, but
I didn't think that. I was trying to make a joke in the situation.
I know. I see. It's amazing though, like what these little words, like what they actually are implanting in here, right? Because it's like you want to seem very united with it and like how amazing it is, right? And we don't really want to have this thing that sounds like a negative connotation for it, even though I know that's not what you were meaning, right? Obviously. Where was I going here? Okay, perfect.
Coffee's probably bad.
Pardon?
Oh, when I made the, yeah, I'll probably watch it after coffee. Da, 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 da.
No, that's okay. That's your humor. Like, that's good to throw that stuff in there, right? Had a chance to watch the workshop. Yes. Okay, so after she says yes, then I would try and say something along the lines of, like, to get her talking again, I would say something along the lines of,